Hello, and welcome to the October 2025 Real Estate Market Update brought to you by the Reby Homes team. Let's kick things off with the most anticipated topic mortgage rates. They're still trending down and have reached the lowest point in over a year in the 6.2% range now, so that's great news for buyers. Here's how mortgage rates can impact monthly payments. A good rule of thumb is essentially a 10% reduction in principal and interest payments for every 1% drop in rates. So if we look at January of this year to where we are now, and we're actually slightly lower now than we were in September, which is what this graph has, you can see the dollar difference in monthly payments, which for many buyers might be the tipping point for some to make a move. For example, a $350,000 loan in January with a 7.26% interest rate put your principal and interest payment at $23.89, but that same $350,000 loan today with a 6.26% rate puts your principal and interest payment at $21.57, which is a difference of $232 a month. And for a lot of buyers, that $232 a month is the make or break for whether or not they buy. This graph is also a really great visual for those buyers who are waiting for rates to reach the bottom or come down just a little bit more. Not only is it impossible to know when that'll happen, but by the time we are there, we still won't know until months later when we can look back at the data and see a clear bottom. The reason this graph is helpful for those waiting for rates to come down a little bit more is because it shows that unless rates come down an entire percentage point, it's probably not going to impact their payment enough for them to make a different decision. Not to mention, seller concessions can help buyers get the rate down even further, but the percentage of sellers offering concessions along with the amount will dwindle as the market continues to improve. Point being, if you can comfortably afford the mortgage now, then waiting for the possibility to save maybe $20 a month on your payment seems silly. Plus, there's added risk of more competition and less seller flexibility. National home appreciation is still slowing, but remember, this is just an average. To get a better sense of true appreciation, it heavily depends on the region and city. As a whole, it seems home prices are up 2.3% from July 2024 to July 2025, but that was not the case in many cities across the country. A lot of cities saw prices stabilize and remain flat or even dip below where they were this time last year. That lack of appreciation is largely attributed to mortgage rates remaining too high for buyers to comfortably afford, and couple that with growing inventory, and we have more sellers than buyers, which we know puts downward pressure on prices. The easing of mortgage rates should result in buyer demand picking up, which will help absorb some of the inventory that's been sitting on the market. For the fifth month in a row, there are over 1 million homes on the market. This is the highest inventory has been since 2019 and gives buyers a lot more options. Pending sales across the country rose in August by 18% thanks to the rate relief, but we're still not seeing a huge increase in contract activity. Why is that? Well, partly because at the time of this video, we're going on day 24 of a government shutdown, which has impacted many FHA and VA loans. So we can expect to see a bump in closed sales following the shutdown when those impacted loans eventually do close. But another reason we haven't seen a huge spike in demand is because buyers are responding in anticipation of what the feds will do next. Many are holding off to see how low rates will get and how low prices will get, while disregarding the fact that they can afford the rate that we have. And the longer we have stability in rates and prices, the more buyers will enter the market and stir things up again. Seasonally, buyers tend to come out in the beginning of the year, so if rates do remain stable as we head into 2026, then we should see buyer activity really start to pick up, which will cause builders to draw back their incentives and sellers to adjust their willingness to give on price, concessions, and repairs. And that's the general consensus from the experts in the industry who are confident 2026 home sales will increase to somewhere around 5.2 million. They're hopeful that mortgage rates will continue moving in the right direction, and with new construction permits slowing, it's only a matter of time before the plethora of inventory we have now starts getting absorbed. And now for a look at our local market here in the Phoenix metro area. This graph shows year-over-year comparisons for price per square foot from October of 2024 to October of 2025. It's broken down by price point to give a clearer picture, and we can see that homes between 1.5 million and 3 million are the only price points that saw any positive growth. This is very telling. We know the last 12 months have been tough for sellers with very little buyer activity, so they've had to make some serious adjustments to their expectations just to get their home sold. The price point that saw the largest dip in prices was homes under 300,000, and that's a lot of our first-time home buyers and condo sales. With rates being at near 7% for almost a full year, that's not really a surprise. Active listings remain elevated with about 22,000 homes on the market right now. Seasonally, we tend to see a drop off right about now through the end of the year, so we can likely expect to see that same trend again as sellers pull their homes off the market, allow for a 45-day reset, and then relist in the spring. Price reductions are still very much happening, although they have slowed a bit since the peak in April. This is another graph with prominent seasonal trends. We can see that December of each year, it pulls way back on price cuts. Sellers tend to make their last Hail Mary effort of a reduction before Thanksgiving, and then they'll let it sit through the new year, or they'll pull it off the market and wait till the new year to relist. So over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we can expect to see a jump in price reductions and then a halt for the rest of the year. And that'll bring us to 6 reasons Q4 could be the best time to buy a new home. Reason number one, mortgage rates are down a full percent since January, so affordability is much better than it was just 10 months ago. Reason number two, prices have consistently been trending downward and are stable, so they're either at or soon to be at the lowest point all year as sellers give their best and final effort to sell before the holidays. Reason number three, supply remains elevated, but demand tapers off. Most buyers use the holidays and their busy schedules as an excuse to push off buying until the new year, which means the buyers who do take advantage of this time will see the least amount of competition all year and have the most options to choose from. Reason number four, seller concessions hit an all-time high because of the lack of demand and desire to sell before the new year, with over 53% of homes closing with an average of $10,000 going to the buyer. And we can expect to see that trend continue as long as things remain stable. Reason number five, similar to reason number four, but for new construction homes, builders are pulling out their absolute best incentive offers to get buyers in before the year end, which can include permanent rate buydowns in the 4% range right now, covered all closing costs, and possibly even covered appliance packages, landscaping, or window coverings for the entire home. And reason number six, tax purposes, especially for investors. There are many sellers who want to close before the new year, strictly for tax purposes, and this will oftentimes open up some of the most generous opportunities that buyers will see all year. We say it every year, but Q4 holds opportunity for buyers that spring, summer, and fall markets just don't have. So if you're looking for the best opportunity out there, now is your time to shine. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you have questions or would like to see any data in your specific area, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help. See you next month.